All right, so let me get back to the Zoom.
Oh, Onyii just texted. She says,
she said she was
I had
on.
to get off.
Oh, you were. Okay, cool.
You had to get off? Okay, hold on.
Yeah, no, I was on with you and then, okay.
I don't see you. There, now I see you.
Hold on, well, let me get back. Let me see you, because I don't see anybody right now. Oh, here I am. Oh, no, that's another one. Okay, let's see. All right. It's launching. I think it's sharing on Facebook now. Hey, everybody, I'm, oh, there I am. I can see myself. Oh, no. Hold on. Okay, is it like, oh, y'all. Oh, I am technologically challenged with Zoom. And I know I shouldn't be.
It's water.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, I see you on Facebook. Let's see.
I deleted the Facebook app on my phone, so I don't know. I can turn it on.
That's, you know what? That's probably good, David.
Especially recently, I'm like,
I don't know why.
Let's see.
Let's see.
Let's see.
Hey everybody, it's the Joy Hour, and Joy is just trying to figure out how to get on. Actually, I'm on, but I'm trying to figure out how I can.
Oh, it's on. I think it says live, and I just liked it.
Live.
It says 2 minutes ago. So, and it says watch an app, which I don't have the app, so I can't watch it on the app.
All right. Well, hold on. I can't see because I can't see you all. So.
Oh. I can't see Onyii. I can only see you.
You can't see me. I see all of you. I see both of you.
You do?
Let me try my gallery view different. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Now I can see all three.
Okay.
That was on me.
I can't see. Oh, hold on.
Do you have the little thing up at the on the right hand corner, and it has like a -2, like a double minus, and then it almost looks like equal sign.
Oh, minus and equal sign.
It's like a little file, like right in your upper. Well, for me, it's my upper right hand corner, and then it should like expand. It says like hide thumbnail view if you hover over it. Show active speaker video. -2, like a double minus, and then well, for me, it's my upper right hand corner.
Hold on, let's see. That's not it. I did this last time. I don't know what happened. Okay. All right, hold on. Let's see. All right, Joy. All right, everybody. I'm with Onyii Brown and David Peck, and I can't see anybody, but they can see me. Let's see. Screen share only? No, not screen share. That's not what I wanted to do.
There should be a little thing where in the corner where it has like a drop down, like a black bar, and it has like
in the right corner or the left corner?
For me, it's the upper right hand corner, but unless you could move it wherever you'd like. You could move it like down or whatever, but for me, it starts in the upper right hand corner.
Oh, I see people logging on.
Okay, yeah, because I wanted to be able to see on Zoom that you can see the people who are logging onto Zoom. So, well, let's get.
I see people on Facebook.
Are they? Okay.
Let's see.
All right. Okay, I see Facebook now. All right. Okay, so welcome to the Joy. What is this? The Joy Hour.
Joy Hour. What's your name?
What's my name? And I started this as a way of have a conversation with people from Houston who are in fashion. Many of the people, I think all of you, I have covered you in some capacity, and just to have a dialogue about what's going on, how's business, how's fashion. I know both of you. I wanted both of you together because both of you are fashion designers, women's wear. And you've done a pivot during this pandemic on making masks. So tell me, how did that start? Onyii, let's start with you. How did you end up doing this?
Well, so the whole mask thing, it started with just a friend of mine who's a medical professional. It was actually my midwife. And she was saying, we really need masks. And I was like, oh man, let me see if I can make some. And then it kind of turned into an initiative at my church called the We Care program, where we had volunteers from older women in my ministry We were just in a room making masks all day and just giving them out to healthcare professionals. And then after that, people were like, okay, so can I buy a mask? And I was like, oh, okay, now I need to make some masks. And it just turned into this real business of masks. And so I even right now, I'm like dedicating most of my website strictly to mask purchasing. And I get, mask orders from around the country every day. So that's kind of how it happened.
And so how many have you sold, do you imagine?
I've sold thousands of masks. Like, wow. I just stopped counting. I just, I have my son working for me now as my shipper.
Good.
You need help. It's a lot of work.
I need help. But now, I'm not technically, but like my seamstresses, we just kind of, okay, we're not making dresses now because people aren't ordering them as much. So let's just focus on making masks, and that's what we do. Right.
And David, how did you make this pivot?
Very similarly. At first, I kind of resisted making them. Obviously the time frame of everything, like I feel like it was forever, but it was really probably less than a week of resisting. When I saw people making masks, I was like, I can't make a mask that's going to save anybody. What am I thinking? I'm going to be able to make something that's going to protect somebody. And I was really concerned about making a product that made people feel safer than they actually were. But then I did all this research online and I realized okay, well, we started making that. I found out that non-woven polypropylene was supposed to be a little bit better than cotton. So it's okay, that makes me feel comfortable. At least I'm trying something different. So we started just making them to donate because we have a lot of clients who are healthcare professionals and we kept getting requests. It was okay, well, this is what we can do. And so we started donating them. And I guess it was about 2 weeks into it, we had so many requests from people asking, can we buy masks? And at first I was like, I don't know, this is weird. Am I making money off masks? I don't really know. So we launched the whole buy one, give one thing because we needed to actually fund. We had so many requests for donations that we had to figure out a way to fund it. We had started a donations page on our website, which people had started to donate to, but we were getting so many requests. I was we've got to figure this out. So all of April and most of May, it was just nonstop mask making. We are still fulfilling orders and taking orders and things like that, but it's not, the craziness is kind of subsided, but it was nuts. We made in, I guess that 6 week period, we did about 12,000 masks.
Wow.
When we had and donated about a little over 9,000 of them. We probably made more 13 if I'm really counting of what we sold, because we actually launched another collection of eye doctor masks. Because we have several clients who are eye doctors and they're can you do some that are fun and have eyeballs and prints and stuff? And so we did that. And now we're launching surgical caps that match the masks so that they can do procedures, because they all have all this gear and it's easier if their hair is out of the way. So now we're making surgical caps that match the masks that we already made.
So, okay, so both of you do women's wear. And you've been able to do the mask in fabrics that you would probably do your own silhouettes, own designs in, is that correct? And so kind of, sort of?
Well, for us, the interior of all of our masks are this non-woven polypropylene. So we had to source that and figure that out. You actually can get it at Home Depot. But they're covered in cotton, and a lot of them were cottons that we had. And then we ended up selling so many, I had to figure out how to order cotton. And obviously at that time, shipping was a huge nightmare because trying to get anything in any reasonable amount of time was nuts.
But so is it the same feeling of creating a dress as it creating a mask?
Oh, absolutely not.
My whole team is over it. They're can we not make these? We're done.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, for me, it was a lot of, past collections that I just couldn't let go of the fabric. And so it was just accumulating in this space. And so it was nice to be able to kind of recycle and reuse those, because we do, I have 100% cotton, and then we do, you know, make room for the inserts. So that was really great to be able to kind of reuse what, you know, how many years I've been in 2013 that I wasn't able to let go, and so being able to reuse those was very helpful.
How does it feel to be contributing to, you know, the need and the demand during this pandemic, but also doing something that's a bit more stylish?
I don't know. Like, I don't know. Well,
or did you just go in production mode and you're like, you didn't even think about it?
I didn't really think about making it stylish at first. It really started from a place of like, how can we make the safest mask? At least for us, it was like, how do I make the safest mask possible? So it was really started from a utilitarian point of view. And then now we're having fun with it. So like, we've made all these tops for summer that are cotton, and we've made masks that match them. So like, we've tried to have fun with it and like, you know, infuse a little bit of, you know, fashion into it. But I think when it first started, it really was utilitarian. And then it was like, okay, people were asking for different types of prints. Like people wanted camouflage, or they wanted, you know, flowers, or they wanted whatever. And it's like, how do I source these things? But it really was, for at least for us, like production, like how do I source the materials that I can actually get shipped here in a reasonable amount of time? Because like a lot, you know, New York and LA, where most of our suppliers come from, they were shut down. Sure. So trying to, you know, especially New York, they just now started to open up, and we can get some stuff shipped, but like in LA opened much sooner. But luckily we have a couple of suppliers who I could just text and say, hey, do you have anything you can ship me? And they're smaller businesses, so they could kind of like put stuff together and ship them to me.
So Onyii, what was it like, you know, going into this pandemic, and were you concerned about your business? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, because a lot of the orders were canceled. A lot of things that had to be shipped out for spring, you know, everything was on hold, or people's businesses weren't open. So we can't fulfill those orders. And then, you know, this year I actually accepted making prom dresses and custom dresses for, you know, young women. And so those were all gone. But it was like the timing of it, like David said, like I really did not want to make masks. It wasn't something that I wanted to do for my business. But it turned out to be a really blessing for me as far as sustaining my business right now. And then you know, it's just also the social aspect of it, the community aspect of it. That's where the energy really came from. And it was really awesome to be a part of that and participate in that as a community. And so for me, my masks are like more of a fashion statement. Like, what am I gonna match it with this? Or, you know, like I wore a mask today to match my earrings, you know, when I went out to lunch. So, you know, it's like that fun aspect I enjoy. I do get a lot of my fabric from like London and stuff. So what's crazy is I'm able to get it quicker than than if it's in the States, you know.
Wow.
So I can get it like within 2 days versus if I'm trying to get it from, like David said, like LA or New York. I don't even try, you know, so.
What is the holdup? I mean, it just seems like coming internationally from London would be a lot.
No, I mean, like DHL, you know, they're still doing trades. You know, it's very fast. You know, FedEx International is incredibly fast. And so, you know, so I didn't have those type of hiccups when it came.
Yeah.
But when it came to like things like elastic and things, I was just like, I'm not even gonna try.
Oh, that was a nightmare. The elastic issue was like, for a while, I was like, what are we gonna do? Like, it was.
Yeah, everybody was looking for elastic, right?
Everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, you can even get black canvas, so I couldn't even offer like black masks.
Oh, I know people were asking, can I just have a black mask? And I was like,
what? Where am I gonna get that from?
Yeah, sure, when I can find the fabric.
All right, David.
I did end up going one day to Walmart and just cutting up some jeans.
Did you really? That's good.
That's hilarious.
That's called creativity.
I a whole bunch. I was like, okay, they're asking for Black.
That's so funny.
That is funny. David, okay, tell me about your business. So when the pandemic hit, what were you doing and what were you thinking and what, you know?
We were having a great year so far. And so I was, you know, we've really focused in the past couple of years on custom. You know, you can still shop on in our boutique and you can shop online, but we focused so much on custom, and there's so many weddings and events in Houston. So when this was all coming together, I was like, oh, we were actually in, we were preparing for Opera Ball because we were dressing the chair and also the chair of the Symphony Ball. And obviously both of those events got canceled. So like all the stuff that we were working on, like for big events, kind of got put on hold until next year, I guess. So who knows when everything's gonna actually come back. But so it really was an interesting thing. But I think I didn't start the mask thing with the idea of like, oh shoot, I've got to make money. It was really like, okay, there seems to be a genuine need, and we're not going to be bored at home. If I'm going to pay my employees and we're going to, you know, be just riding this out, we might as well do some good. So it really did come from a place of like wanting to try to help, even though I couldn't see how we were helping at the very beginning. But I'm so thankful for it, because if we didn't have that and if we didn't make that shift, I mean, it would have been bad. It would have been hard. It would have been really bad to go through that month, because, you know, we didn't sell clothes. I mean, like people were not like in the headspace, even if they wanted, like, they were not wanting clothes. And even just like I was alone basically for most of that month in the studio with the cutter. So I was like keeping everything organized, and then we just had a cutter who was cutting everything. And then we were giving everything to seamstresses to sew at home, trying to keep everybody as socially distant as possible. So like, even if we, you know, you couldn't have people coming in and shopping, or, you know, like even getting product up online or any of that stuff, it would have been so difficult. But the masks really, for many reasons, were a lifesaver for us.
And you know, that's what I've heard from a number of other designers, that they've said the same thing. What do you think is going to happen when this pandemic is over? What's fashion going to look like? What is your business going to look like, do you think?
Do you want to go?
I can say for me, it's provided new opportunities and partnerships that I usually wouldn't be doing. Like our brand, we're going to be focusing a little bit on like home goods, and working with other interior decorators, and, you know, working in that capacity. We are still going to be doing, you know, the custom made to order items, because I'm not going to let go of those customers. And also this mask thing has brought in new customers that I usually do business with, but they want to, you know, have the basics. And we're also going back to the basics, is what I call it. You know, back to our simple wrap dresses, back to those things that people love and are easy to wear wherever they're going, even if it's not going to be a huge social event. But, you know, they like being able to do, you know, people are going back to church, you know, and just being able to wear certain things that, you know, basic ready to wear items that are easy. And so I call it, for us, going back to the basics.
Going back to the basics. And David?
Yeah, I think in something very similar is that one of my goals for this year before all of this hit was to focus on our e-commerce. And our price point is slightly high for most people if they don't know us to buy something online, sight unseen. So I was really trying to figure out what are these products that are sort of entry level, that are like still in line with our aesthetic and also quality, that could kind of be an entry point for people to get to know us digitally first. And so the mask thing kind of was the perfect entry point for that. And so we started doing these t-shirts, like customizable t-shirts, that we call them the Stevie t-shirt, that people can kind of customize with their own sayings. And we're actually working on a version of it now that's going to help with the whole Black Lives Matter movement. But a lot of it is like, it was in that very short window of time, focusing our attention on the thing that I had planned for the whole year, and figuring out what is that. And like, in this past month, we've been able to create a lot of like really easy summer tops and dresses that, you know, people have loved, but we've just never had the time to actually make because we were so in the weeds with the custom stuff. And it's also given us a huge opportunity. Like, our pattern maker has spent a lot of this downtime really organizing our systems and kind of getting the back end of everything ready, because we know it's going to come back. Like, our biggest money maker is really weddings and events, and this may have slowed them down or delayed them, but like, they're not going to go away. And even if the weddings are smaller, people are still going to get dressed for them. So we've spent a lot of time getting ourselves organized, which has felt really nice, because we probably wouldn't have made that time had things just not come to a screeching halt. So in a really weird way, it's a huge blessing on many levels. One, from a monetary level, because it sustained us and we did very well. But then also from just the idea of like stepping back and taking stock of where do we really want to focus our attention, and kind of organizing the business, which is hard when you're just going, you're surviving, sometimes not thriving.
Well, what I hear both of you saying is the business is, you continue the business, but you also are adding an element, like Onyii, you said you're doing prom dresses, which you haven't, or did you say prom dresses? Was that what it is?
Well, yeah, I mean, prom dresses, prom dresses, bridesmaid dresses, they're all baked.
Yes. Special occasion, well, I don't know if it's special occasion dresses. Well, and I just think it's interesting that it opens up a new kind of either market or demand. Like Chloe and Jackie Adams last week were talking about how they are doing a lot more leisure wear, because people are not going to the fancy events as much as they did before. So I just think it's interesting. Absolutely. David, you brought up something, and you said you were doing something for Black Lives Matter. So that has been on my this week. We had I did a pivot covering the George Floyd funeral. And I think what's interesting is that we're all doing pivots, but it's all part of the thing. Like, I'm still a journalist, and you're still a designer, but you're doing masks, And I see a lot of fashion brands that are on the Black bandwagon, saying, they're going to do this, they're going to do that, they're going to do, all this kind of stuff. And, for me, I've been doing this for, good Lord, 17 years. I can't believe it. And I wonder how much of that is just, they think that this is a trend or something that's just cool to say. Yeah. But how much part of it is their whole belief system? And I wonder what your thoughts on just seeing the dynamic of what's happening and seeing it in fashion. Anna Wintour is now apologizing for not being inclusive with Black models and such in Vogue, which I think it's way too late for that, but whatever.
We'll see if it sticks.
Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Well, I've unfollowed a lot of people this week.
I have too.
There have been, I don't know. I think I've always tried to make an effort to be inclusive in my point of view, but I think the thing it has taught me is that I can always do more. And because sometimes we get lazy and we don't seek out things that are different. And I mean, just with the way algorithms are structured, you start to see people who look like you. That's just kind of the way. Instagram's not interested in necessarily like, here's a whole diverse group of people that you should like. It's usually like everybody looks the same. And so it's very easy for your feed to become one note. So I think this week for me was just a reminder is like, am I actively seeking out people who are different and people of color who I hadn't looked for before? And like, you start going down these rabbit and you realize like there's a whole world out there that I didn't know existed. And there's also people that I follow that I'm extremely disappointed in. And now I need to like, unfollow them and that's fine and move on. I do think that a lot of brands are going to see this as a trend on which to be capitalized. And I think that's wrong on, I mean, it's not a trend. It's people's lives, and it's systematic oppression that's been going on for centuries. That's not a trend. I mean, it's definitely not a fast fashion trend, if anything. So for us, like, it's like with everything, I want to be meaningful, and I want to be able to do something in a way that I know that is sustainable and is not just hopping on a bandwagon. And one of the reasons I haven't launched the product yet was, one, I wanted to take this week and just be quiet. We refrained from posting any of our own social stuff last week at all. And we just tried to amplify Black voices. But I want to figure out an organization that in the long term, like, not only aligns with what I think is going on right now in this present moment, but what we as a brand stand for as well. And make a meaning with all of our relationships with nonprofits and organizations. We're in it for the long haul. And I think that's why we've just had so much success with, especially the performing arts in Houston, is like, it's not a flash in the pan thing for us. And so I really want to find that perfect partner where hopefully what we're doing is helping them do what they do over an extended period of time, not just for a week or two where we get a lot of sales because everyone's on this hashtag.
Hey, Onyii, what are your thoughts?
It's kind of hard for me to see a lot of people just kind of putting out the Black Lives Matter tag, and I'm more about what is the change going to be in fashion. I mean, for me, even as a designer, one of the biggest things at being a designer of color was capital. Like, how do I have access to capital to even launch my brand?
Oh, she
frozen.
She's frozen. Onyii. Hello. Okay.
In this game.
Oh, there it goes.
There she goes.
And so, for companies like that, I just, that keep saying these Black Lives Matter, I want to see those type of initiatives happening for people of color, whether it's a fund, some type of programming that provides that level of support. And so that's really big for me, because not everyone's going to, take you under their wing. And that's only if you fit a certain box.
It's interesting. So I went to New York Fashion Week for many years, and it's rare that I saw a fashion designer. I mean, you had Tracy Reese, you had some other ones that you saw on a regular, but there were very few Black designers. And then you would have mainstream, white designers who would do a tribute to Africa and feature all Black models, which always just grated my nerves. And I haven't been to New York Fashion Week in a while, and I know it's vastly different now because it's very dispersed. But I'm hoping that there's some change. I'm hoping that there's a conscience there that the fashion industry will really take note and do things to embrace young Black fashion designers, ones who are established with capital and everything that you say. I'm hoping that will happen. I don't know. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you, Onyii, because we were talking about just your business. You were Martha Stewart's. Tell me what that.
Oh, American Made. I was a finalist.
Oh, cool.
So wow.
That's cool. Tell us about that.
Well, I don't even remember exactly how it happened, but I guess somebody nominated me in my business, and then the next thing I know, I'm on this as I'm a finalist for Martha Stewart's American Made.
That's so cool.
That is really cool.
So that was really cool. Really cool.
Did it help your business at all?
It brought awareness. I mean, it's just like any publicity. It brings awareness to the brand, and you just keep building. the awareness and educate people about your brand and hope they stick.
I asked Chloe and Jackie last week, what have been the biggest heartbreaks about being in the fashion industry and fashion and having your own business? David, what the biggest heartbreak?
I mean, I lost my business 5 years ago. And that was horrible. That was really, but it's actually the best thing that happened.
Really?
I can say that now. I couldn't say it 3 years ago. But I really think it was the best thing because I've just learned so much. I mean, still I've got a lot to learn. But I think mentally, my mindset, like there's so much about the way I approach what I do that's different now. And I really, truly love it. And I don't know that I could have said that truthfully before. So yeah, I mean, it's been hard. I mean, I mean, I've been in Houston now 10 years. We were planning on talk about plans that got interrupted. We were supposed to plan this huge celebration of 10 years in Houston this summer, but it'll be postponed. We'll celebrate 11. I like that number better anyway. Anyway, it's a very hard business. And like, I think going back to what you were saying about capital and everything, like, I had a lot of opportunities, and I think that worked out and didn't work out for various reasons. But it's still a really hard business. And even if you don't have, even if you end up getting some money, and so I can't imagine what it's like, when you don't have those opportunities. I think it's a problem that the industry is having to grapple with as a whole. And I hope that they are addressing it more inclusively now. Because it's hard. I mean, the whole industry has changed. I mean, huge department stores are going out of business. It's the industry is not what it was 10 years ago, or even, especially 15 years ago. And I think that's for the better. I don't think that any of this is, as hard as it is and as horrible it is to go through it at the time, I don't think that it's bad. I think it really it's this whole thing. It's like, you learn to focus on what really matters. I mean, that's why I think even this close to coronavirus, like, I'm so grateful for that time. As crazy as it was, I don't think I was ever worried about our business, just because I knew that we had the right people in place, and I knew that what we were doing, we were kind of heading where the business is going anyway. I think we were ahead of where the business was going, and it didn't mean it's not going to be hard, and doesn't mean there's not going to be months where we struggle. But I feel confident that I think the smaller designers and the people who are looking at fashion differently are the ones who are going to change it. And I hope the larger industry and like the masthead publications will recognize that and understand that we need to, in some ways, abolish the system in order to rebuild it. I mean, that it's going on so much in all of these discussions, whether it's the police, whether it's fashion, whatever. Like, sometimes you kind of do need to start from scratch, and that's okay. It teaches you a lot.
Onyii, biggest heartbreak?
I would have to say my biggest heartbreak was Harvey. That was really hard for me, because I was getting good accounts. I had a lot of great things happening prior to Harvey, and then my studio all flooded. And I had to start from scratch. But kind of like what David said is, those things really force you to stop and reevaluate and redirect. And so I had the opportunity to be mentored by some great people when I did that FIT program on entrepreneurship, which was right after Harvey. And it allowed me to really evaluate my business, decide where I wanted to go, really work with my price points, focus on my customers, working on more of direct consumer versus wholesale. Similar, just not doing it like they've done it in the past. Like, just like David said, it's like the system is completely broken, and it's broken for someone like me who didn't have that fashion background, who didn't go to fashion school, but had to kind of figure it out. And so I'm very grateful. I'm even grateful for this time because, you know, it allows me to also work on other businesses that's tied into fashion as well, where we're seeing new trends coming up. And so I'm happy to have had the opportunity to kind of step back and breathe. You know, it's hard to keep up with season after season after season. You don't sleep, you don't even spend time with your family. You're present, but you're not present, you know? So I'm very grateful for that time to be able to do that. I mean, I'm grateful for my home. I've been able to, you know, just step back and bring my creativity even home, which I wasn't even able to do before. And I'm excited about a new collection. And it's been a while since I've been able to be excited about creating something new. Because you're just in that whole rat race. Yeah, I'm looking forward to 2021.
I think we all are looking forward to 2021.
Yeah.
Like, all right,
but you know, there's just been a lot of learning.
You mentioned something. You said, I don't have a fashion background. Now, tell me a little bit in a nutshell your background, because was it rocket science? What I can't remember.
Oh, I was in robotic engineer and then into marketing.
You know,
Yes.
Logical transition. I get it.
Exactly.
I see your career trajectory. It makes total sense.
And David, were you fashion? Weren't you musical?
I was a cellist. Yeah,
Oh,
I have a degree.
right.
I have a degree in classical cello. Yeah, I didn't ever think, I mean, now in hindsight, somebody should have told me, but I was like, I didn't consider it until after I basically had a degree in cello. And then I'm like, okay, now I'm going to Paris for fashion. But in some ways, you know what, it's funny because I think I connect so much more now to the entrepreneurial side of the business rather than the fashion side. The fashion side got really, in many ways, boring because it's this endless rat race. And it's like, what? Like, I can't watch another collection. It's like, you know, people are like waxing eloquent about these collections. I'm like, I can't. Like, I just can't. I'm like done. There's just too many. It's like an onslaught. There's too many designers.
Yeah.
Nobody like, and it's like, what's a trend? It's like a trend is every single thing. Like, known
everything's
a trend. And I'm just like, it just seems so silly at a certain point. And so what I think one of the things that I've learned the most over the past 5 years, especially, is I don't really follow fashion with a capital F. Is I've been following a lot of business people and entrepreneurs and mindset people. And for me right now, it's been so much more fulfilling, and it connects me to the bigger vision of my life that I've always had. None of it has really changed. But I see so many more opportunities in different ways than I did before, because before it was like you were taught in school, like I have to do this collection and then I have to sell it, and then it goes to market, and then you have to produce it, and then it goes to a store, and then hopefully you'll sell it all before it goes on sale. And it's like this endless cycle that it's horrible. It's just this, and you can never keep up, and you're chasing money. Like, the margins on it are just abysmal. It's just, it's demoralizing. And you can have all the success, like you were saying about like the Martha Stewart thing. It's so awesome, but like probably in terms of sales, you could probably count on your hand maybe like the direct sales that came from being a part of that. It you know, the probably where you did the most is being able to talk about the experience, and it was all the messaging you put out there, and you were connecting with your customers, and you maybe talked about this experience. But it's not like any of these things. Like, we've had great publicity, but I didn't sell one dress because we dressed Taylor Swift. Like,
really?
No.
Wait, hold up. Wait, really?
No.
Because No.
People like it, they're impressed. But I can honestly say, I don't think I've sold one dress because Taylor Swift wore it.
That's real.
So all of that is just like, that's just like, That's just like smoke and mirrors. You
Oh,
think
yeah.
that they're where you're going to have all these
yeah.
sales.
Oh yeah, no. I think that there was maybe a time when if you were like in the New York Times style section or something, or like, actually, Joy, I've had more sales from them like you've written about me.
Me too,
because,
Joy.
Yeah, because people, they pay attention to the words in the story and they connect with the person.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe now it would be different because it's been so long since we did that thing with Taylor Swift, and social media is different. And we would have a website and people could maybe could go, and maybe if we knew it was happening, we could have like some token product that people could buy at a lot. Like there's a whole thing that, you know, but it's not like people see something like that and like, oh, I'm going to buy that because of that.
Taylor Swift was wearing it.
Yeah, I feel like people really crave authentic connections, and like you talk about it in an honest way, and you're, you know, even like having conversation now, like I can just tell you from things that I've done in the past, like I get more residual conversations from doing things like this and having these opportunities than like having really beautiful editorial things. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love all the pretty pictures and like all that's great, but what really drives the business forward is connections.
Yeah. Let me ask you about social media, because I know that has changed fashion completely in the last 10 years. Yeah. The rise of the blogger, the rise of the influencer. Has that bubble burst? Has that, are we, so. You know, I hope so too, right? I'm like, I hope so too.
I don't really use influencers and all of that, but I have been able to sell on social media, well, through Instagram. You know, people will message, oh my God, I want that. Yeah. But it's not, like David said, it's not because it's on some superstar. It's on a person that looks just like them, that they can relate to, and they want to be able to wear it so that they too can look like what they already look like.
Yeah, I will say when we have you, because we've worked with some bloggers and then some influencers, and some of them are great friends. But I will say that we have one influencer that we've worked with where we've sold we sold, like, and it was a partnership that we did with like collaboration, but it was very meaningful. It was like she had seen a need and we addressed it, and she was able to communicate that in a really authentic way to her followers. She's like, this is something I've been looking for. I couldn't find it. I asked David if we could make this together, and this is the product we came up with to address this problem. I think you'll love it. And it was very simple, but it wasn't like some like big, like, oh, I'm in, you know, the Amalfi Coast and taking this picture and, you know, everyone loves this dress, so I'm selling 500 of them. It wasn't that. So when you have those real, like somebody who's curated, and she doesn't even have the largest audience of like all the influencers that I know, but she has a really loyal and engaged audience. And I think that's where I see, like, I think a lot of the big bubble ones where people have either bought followers or they've somehow artificially inflated it or something, I do think that bubble has burst. But I think what's going to come out of it is what people who have spent a lot of time genuinely creating authentic connections, like that's hopefully here to stay, because that's where I've seen the most meaningful conversations and where I've even learned the most about, you know, what our customer wants.
Well, we're actually, I think we have about 15 minutes left, which is amazing. It goes so fast. So I want to ask you some fun questions.
Okay.
So what trend do you just hate?
I know mine, but you go first.
Man, that I hate?
I
hate like the skinny jean thing.
Do you?
Oh,
it's
really?
Too much. It's like it's just starting, it's like tights now. It's not even like it's like tight. I can't,
Okay, David.
Well, speaking of influencers, I know a lot of them who wear them and love them. I cannot stand the headband thing.
Oh, okay.
It's like adult women dressing as toddlers, and I really can't.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
It's just every once in a while somebody pulls it off, and I'm like, okay, I get it. Most of the time, I'm like,
what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? I don't know. That's the one that it's like, I've never really said it in public because I know too many people who wear them, but now I did, so.
All right, so you both have traveled a lot.
Uh-huh.
Where are the most stylish people?
Paris.
Okay.
Like Parisians, like people, like true Parisians. And it's not even like designer label stuff. It's just like, it's like, it'll always be in style, kind of.
I'll have to say my people, my African people, we got it hands down. Just and all, we invented style.
See, I haven't been to Africa, so I can't say that.
I have. I've been to South Africa, and I swear the fabrics were absolutely beautiful. And Onyii, you are Nigerian, is that right?
I'm Nigerian.
Yeah, Nigerian. So yes,
when I make it to Africa, then I will change my answer. How about that?
If you had to, someone to sit down and have dinner with, alive or dead, so someone famous, who would that be? Ooh, Onyii, I saw you. I saw a light went off.
Oh, well, it'd have to be religious. I'd have to meet Jesus himself.
Oh, go ahead. Okay. You know what? You're the first person who's ever asked that question who's ever said Jesus. You're the first person. Wow.
I have to ask a lot of questions.
Okay. Okay. All right. David?
Oh, Oprah.
Oprah.
Hands down.
Yeah, Oprah's mine too. Oprah's mine.
Yeah. Well, you met her.
I know. I was gonna say, haven't you met her?
I did meet her. I didn't get to talk to her, but I got to hug her, and just to hug Oprah is just like, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah. You got an impartation.
Yeah. She was just like, you just feel the Oprah, just the Oprah-ness, when you hug her. So.
Yeah.
All right. So if one's a celebrity style crush, somebody who's a celebrity who you think got it.
Ooh. I have a couple.
Okay.
I think Lupita Nyong'o and Emma Stone. Okay. I like both of them a lot.
I just love her, period. I have to see this Tracy Ellis Ross.
She's mine too. She's mine. She's
everything. Awesome. She can wear, paper bag on the side, and I'll be like, oh my God, that was so dope, Tracy.
She really can wear the weirdest stuff and make it look so good.
She sure can. And you know who I like, who I think is not as celebrated as much as Solange. I think Solange does.
She has amazing style.
Yeah, she does some really.
Her wedding thing on the bike with the cape and the
white jumpsuit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
No one will ever forget that.
Favorite fashion movie or movie that had the best fashion in it for you? I'll tell you mine.
Yeah.
No, not yet.
Oh, okay.
The girls in New York.
Sex in the City?
Sex in the City.
Sex in the City?
Movie. When they went to Dubai.
The first one or the second one?
Second one, when they were in Dubai.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a killer. Okay. And then of course the Devil Loves Prada. That's just classic, and I don't know. It just opened my. Call me corny, but.
Well, I have to say mine is Thomas Crown Affair.
Oh, it's which one? The original or the Rene Russo?
The remake, the one with Pierce Brosnan, and Rene Russo.
That dress she wears on the stairs.
Oh my God. Oh, and it was who designed it? It was
Michael Kors, I think.
Michael Kors. Yeah. I loved everything she wore in that movie. Everything. Yeah. That
was so good. Oh, now I'm thinking about all these ones that I haven't thought about.
And I will have to say, it's more costume, but Black Panther.
Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was good too.
Yeah.
That was, definitely costume, but beautiful.
There's so many like different genres, so I feel like it's hard to pick.
That's
like,
very difficult.
Yeah.
That was a difficult
Because I
one.
remember like, I think similar to Thomas Crown Affair, like Great Expectations came out in like 97 or something with Gwyneth Paltrow and Ethan Hawke, and Donna Karan did the costumes. And like, it was all green and like everything was simple. It was just like so like 90s chic and cool. I remember like that was like the first time in a movie where I was like a modern day movie where I noticed the costumes. But recently I feel like that so many of like these period dramas have done such a really amazing job of like upping the fact, like, I mean, Black Panther I think is just awesome in terms of like a superhero. Absolutely. I thought that was like the world building was beyond. But like recently I watched Emma and like Little Women. It's so like beautiful, and like they create this like, have you seen Emma with the new one that just released? But it's almost like Wes Anderson meets Jane Austen. It was like so like going into a pastry shop and everything was like pastels and pinks and cool, and like Little Women, it was like the feminist version of Little Women. It's funny because Amber Elliott watched it and she was like, I was so looking forward to it and I hated it. And I was like, I loved it. I'm sorry.
Okay. I've never seen it, so
you haven't seen it. It was like a book I grew up with, and I watched like every version growing up. So like the costumes, I feel like costume designers, like that's one thing I would love to do. Like I would just love to.
So that opens the question, what do you want to do that you haven't done already in fashion? Onyii?
I'm not really a costume designer. I would like to make like an insane wedding gown, but it'd have to be like, insane. I'd have to, do my own hand beading and all of that stuff. So I would say like an insane, like huge train, 150-pound wedding dress.
And David, what would you want to do?
I would want to do costume design for a feature film.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you both are parents and you have children. So what do they think about your fashion and your career and your business and everything? Well, I mean, yours are young, David. Onyii, yours, you have 3.
I have 3.
So
I have an 8-year-old, a 13-year-old. She turned 13 today.
Oh, happy birthday!
Yeah. They kind of roll their eyes at it. They're like, my mom's a fashion designer.
They're too cool for that.
They're like, whatever. Yeah.
That's funny.
That's their response.
And
David, yours are how old?
They just turned 3 and 5 during quarantine.
Okay.
So we had a drive-by birthday, and that was fun. They actually thought that was amazing, actually. They thought it was the coolest birthday. It's funny because they get it more than I think, like, because they've been to the office and they see people sewing. And so like if their pajamas get a hole or something, like, you can take this and fix it, So they kind of get the idea, like, and it's funny because like, the potty training, kids get obsessed with like underwear and stuff, or like as they're growing, like underwear is just like a really big deal to kids. And so Miles, my oldest one, was like, his underwear was getting too small and we needed to get him new underwear. And he was like, well, you could just make me some underwear.
Right, okay.
It's like, sure. Would you like some silk boxers?
Okay, well, I have a question. So if there are young designers out there who are in school who are wondering, like, what in the hell is going to happen when I get out? What is this industry going to look like? All the big boys that they were, or big girls that they were supposed to be going to work for, are closed or bankrupt or whatever. What advice would you give to them, Onyii?
I would tell them to take business classes.
Yeah.
I think that the biggest piece is they get caught up with the design aspect and know zero business.
Right.
And so and marketing and business, accounting, just knowing all aspects of what an entrepreneur really is, because that's what they're getting themselves into. And understanding how to build their brand, what type of message, who their consumer is going to be, all of those things. So my thing would be like, okay, great, your dress is fantastic, but how are you going to market that? And how are you going to reach your customer? And what is your brand? Like, know and create that brand. But I think that that's just so key, that, people leave fashion school and they haven't taken one business course.
Yeah.
So I think that is what I would say for them.
David?
Ditto all that, because it's just, I learned a lot of things the hard way. And I would say a lot of it is, I think they really need to, I think educators need to do a better job of this, but burst the bubble that the fashion industry is what it's always been. It's not relevant to think that you can, like, what you need to learn is to design a collection that goes through the traditional manufacturing process and like get sold to wholesale, like all that stuff. That's not relevant anymore. It doesn't mean that it's not going to exist in some way, shape, or form, but like turning out the number of designers that these schools are turning out with that kind of education, I feel is a complete disservice to them. And I think that what I tell kids all the time is, look at the people on Instagram who are selling, look at these direct to consumer brands, look at the marketing, the marketing thing is the biggest part. What is the story that you want to tell? You have to have a good product. That's sort of a given. But I think that I encourage, especially students who think that they want to have their own company, like I really encourage them to look at what is the one product that you can make that changes somebody's life. Don't think about a collection. Don't think that you have to have a dress and a top and a skirt and merchandise. Like that was that advice that I used to get from like salespeople and showrooms and stuff like that about like, oh, you need to have all these different, it was the worst advice and the biggest money suck. That it's horrible. It's like, come up with one good product, because I will tell you, like, we have a dress in the collection that I made on a whim just because I needed a t-shirt to go with a skirt. And so I made this stupid, simple t-shirt, and I was like, oh, we can make a dress version of that too. So I just made the t-shirt longer. Those two dresses and the versions of those two dresses are the two things that we sell all the time, every week. Like, you just need a good product. And like, you can build on that. You don't need the hundreds of different styles. And like, yes, eventually your brand can grow to that and you can serve a bigger audience. But real business is super important, and figuring out what are your manufacturing costs? How can you do it ethically? Like, think about like, is there a need? Is there a reason we need to add more something into the world? Like, there's too many clothes in the world. Think about
there really are. I agree with that.
Yeah.
All right, we are at the end of the Joy Hour, and I wanted to.
Wow, it went by so fast.
I know it did. My final question, and I ask everybody this: what brings you joy? David, I'm gonna start with you because you're the talker. Go ahead.
I'm the talker. Sorry, I do talk a lot. What brings me joy? I think what really truly brings me joy is when I see that anything that I've done, whether it's a product or helping somebody, like it truly impacted their life. I think it's like knowing that what I do matters. And that's why I think I get bored with the fashion part of it. It's like, I really enjoy when I connect with people on a personal level, and what I do resonates on, even if it's aesthetically, but like it makes an impact. That really brings me joy.
Onyii?
There's a lot of things that have been giving me joy in this time. I'll just have to say, just a lot of wonderful, amazing relationships, really embracing parenthood, and I'm spending time with my family, and similar to David, just like giving impact, like knowing, and my kids say it, like, you say, if I die today, what would my impact be? But, even with, the George Floyd, the impact his life made in the world. And so I just want to influence and impact as many people as I possibly can, to inspire them, encourage them, to be a better them. And that really brings me joy. It really brings me joy.
Well, it brings me joy to be able to do this and just have a kind of simple conversation and forum to talk with all of my people that I have interviewed over the years. So thank you so much for saying okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. The Joy Hour, it will have Kim Roxy, makeup artist Kim Roxy and Aubrey Lane next week. So I'm excited about that.
Awesome.
And David, your website is?
Shop David Peck. Everything Shop David Peck. Instagram, website, everything.
And Onyii?
OnyiiandCo.com.
Hey, well, thank you very much. Have a good
day.
Bye.
All right. Bye, y'all. Bye. I don't know how to shut it down now. Oh my gosh. All right, let me shut this down.